FOREPLAY, presented by Barstool Sports. It is the second show of the week for us. Thursday, Transfusion Thursday. Hal Sutton's on this show. The Hal Sutton, who won 14 times on the PGA Tour, who took down Tiger Woods with one of the great self-calls in the history of the game. And he's just a legend. He was the Ryder Cup captain. He paired Tiger and Phil together. I had kind of forgotten about that a little bit until I was looking him up before just to refresh my brain. He goes into all of that and very much into the entire day, the entire history of him and Tiger Woods playing together and him taking down Tiger at TPC Sawgrass. So Hal Sutton's a guest that, like, I'm proud of having Hal Sutton on. He's a good character in golf history that hearing his perspective is something that, like, that being told on our show is very cool.
Yeah, and he's opinionated as well. We start to get into distance. We get in where the game has gone, over the course of his career. He's obviously spanned a few decades, a few eras. Jack Nicklaus, Tiger Woods, where are we at now? Like, it was great to have him on, and he just has an A-plus voice. He showed up, started talking, and I was like, his voice is better than all three of ours combined and times by 1,000. He's got that great sounding voice, which he was a great guest.
If he didn't have a fantastic career being a professional golfer, he would have been one hell of a voice actor. I mean, you throw a cartoon dog in front of him from the South with a little straw coming out of his mouth, walking out of a little doghouse, being like, "It's hot out here today." You know what I mean? That's
Yes.
fucking Hal Sutton right there, and he's a household name either way. So that guy was just given the gifts from the gods. A seasoned veteran, a guy like you're saying, Riggs. It's really just, all the respect in the world to him, but, like, what the hell is that guy doing on our show? Like, that's a guy that, he's his career, his achievements, his personality is reserved for something a little bit more, polished. I'm very glad that he came on this show, though. It means that we're going places when we got someone like Hal Sutton on the show, and that that just speaks to the kind of guy he is.
Yeah, he was great. So that's coming up in a few minutes. We did almost a full hour with Hal, and he was awesome. He loves to tell stories. His voice is phenomenal. He's been a part of a lot of stuff. He's played with Jack Nicklaus. He's played with Greg Norman. He obviously played Tiger Woods. He's just got really, really good stories. So Hal Sutton's coming up here in a few. Owens, Mixers, they're all over the place now. They're in more and more golf courses, which we like to see. They're all over Pinehurst, which we like to see. And for a good reason. People give them great reviews. People order them and then go back to them because they make a delicious, fantastic, valuable product. It's a simple mixer concept, but they've just put a ton of quality and care into it. But you whip up a really good mixer that's got great flavor. You pour it in with your favorite liquor of choice, and you have an awesome cocktail. You can get it on Amazon. So go look for the Transfusion, the Barstool Transfusion. Go look for their mint cucumber and lime, grapefruit and lime. Get it on Amazon. It'll come right to your home or residence. If you don't know how Amazon works, that's just a little life lesson right there for you, that you should get Amazon to deliver things to you. And then we're getting them, Owen's working really hard to get them, all their mixers, the Transfusion especially, into as many retail spots as possible. So CVS, I think it was my friend Link's Gems, who starred in the Sand Hollow episode of the travel series a few weeks ago, who just sent me a picture from a CVS of just the Transfusion was in CVS.
Yeah, I got a picture as well from a family friend, and it was just absolutely stockpiled to the roof in just a random CVS in upstate New York. It was crazy. And I was like, that's just like our drink. That's just Owens Mixers Transfusions. I can't believe it's in that store in some random ass CVS in the middle of nowhere in upstate New York. It's just everywhere. It's everywhere.
It's the best. It's really delicious. So go check it out. Thank you, Owens, for having our back. Frankie, big win last night. This is, for folks, this is going to come out Thursday morning, so there will have been another game as well. So what we're referring to is Game 5, when the Islanders won 5-4. They got outshot a billion to like 19, but got it done, got the win. You guys are up 3-2. The scene at Borelli's was, as imagined, electric. I think that's the only way you could describe it, was electric. You were amazing. Stu Feiner walking in like he was a Stone Cold Steve Austin entering the ring was awesome. The line outside of Borelli's was shocking. It looked like a new Jordan release, or when the new iPhone comes out, people were just around, I think, the entire island of Long Island. So last night, Frankie, congratulations.
Thank you. We're on a weird scheduling podcast thing here where we're not recording on either the day of the game or the day after the game. People are listening to us prior to the game knowing the result, right? Like, you're hearing my voice right now. I have no idea what happened tomorrow night. We're going to the Coliseum. That's breaking news. That's not breaking news to you hearing it. So we're actually going to the Coliseum. Dave said that if we could figure out how to stream from there, we can do it. We will be streaming from the seats. I think it's going to be revolutionary. I mean, Borelli's has been unbelievable. Boston was unbelievable. But I think if we can get inside that building, get the cameras on us, even if it's iPhones, and just get those reactions in the middle of 15,000 people at the Nassau Coliseum for a game, a series clinching game, the first of my lifetime. The Islanders have never played in the second round in my lifetime at the Nassau Coliseum. When they did it a couple years ago, it was at the Barclays Center, and both at the Barclays Center. Both last times have been at the Barclays Center. So this is like the first time watching my team have a chance to go to the Eastern Conference Finals. I'm fucking jacked up. The Borelli's restaurant last night, the foundation started to slip a little bit. Like the place, like the floor started moving. Like, I think like whatever clay or whatever Borelli's was built on in September of 1955 started to rumble a little bit. The roof had that little shake where like some fucking like stuff was coming out of the ceilings and shit. It was fucking bonkers. And the fact that that's what, like the third or fourth stream from Borelli's where it's been like that, like, or maybe third, like, it's not slowing down. You would think people would maybe get sick of it or like, all right, it's just the same thing over and over again. They're getting crazier and crazier. It's the place to watch the game. There's an argument to be made that it's just as good or better than watching it at the stadium. I mean, people are going fucking crazy in that restaurant. And what you guys see in the back room, it's triple the amount of people in the front bar and outside. Triple. Our view of the cameras, it's like what are those little the connecting monkeys that you get? They're in like Toy Story. Those, it's like the monkeys coming out of the jar. Monkeys in a jar. Is that what they are? It's like people are fucking hanging onto each other's arms, hanging off the ceiling. What are those fucking things called? Crazy monkeys? No.
Oh boy.
The little monkeys in a jar. We all used to have them.
Dig deep, man.
Dig
deep.
Trent.
Figure this one out.
I'm enjoying watching Trent's brain try to find
monkey in a barrel.
Boy, it was right there for us.
Barrel monkeys.
So close. We were.
Barrel of monkeys.
Barrel of monkeys. There we go.
Yes. Okay. Barrel of monkeys registers.
It looks like that. It just looks like people are coming out of like the floor. It's like Planet of the Apes or something. Like I've never seen anything like it. And everyone's so respectful at the restaurant. There was never like anyone doing anything crazy. No one's fucking getting in trouble. It was just, News 11. Pix 11 and News 12 from Long Island, they came and they were interviewing my dad, and we actually were just watching. My dad was first of all, my dad last night, we had to carry him out of the restaurant. He was absolutely ossified, like completely shit-faced.
I mean, he kept chugging bottles in John Feidelberg's face over and over and over again. He was pouring bottles into Stu Feiner's mouth. Like,
completely
it was
shit-faced. And
had to be.
He's sitting there like crying. They're chanting, "Mr. Borelli." He has tears rolling down.
Yeah.
It's just like, and News 11 came and they were like, man. So when we just watched it, it was on at 5:30, and the way that they edited it, they were there when it was snowing and the restaurant was closed, and my dad's sitting there in an empty restaurant hysterically crying to the camera, being like, this is it, like, I don't know what to do anymore. I don't know what to do. I don't know what next month shows. And then all of a sudden it goes to black and it comes back and they show the line outside Borelli's and Mr. Borelli, and we were sitting down there all getting choked up, being like, this is fucking crazy, Dad. Like all the stoolies that have helped with the Barstool Fund. I mean, like I was saying in the beginning, like people are like Venmoing me so that we could bring food to hospitals. Like every dollar helped, and every donation helped to all these restaurants. And now look at the product of the people that were able to survive. You're able to. Barstool was able to have a fucking pizza review camera kid who Dave says his name a bunch of times so people know my name. I'm an Islander fan. Now I got people back in Borelli's because people want to watch the Islanders. It's just amazing what happened. And it's just crazy to take a step back and look at where we are in the world now. No one's complaining. No one's fighting anymore. It's just like fucking just good times. And my dad was like, I lived through 4 Stanley Cups in a row, Frank. He's like, I lived through 4 Stanley Cups in a row. I've never seen something like this at the restaurant ever. Like, this is insanity. It's insanity, guys. I like the word insane isn't even registering with you guys what's actually happening at that restaurant. It's fucking preposterous.
You're gonna make this podcaster cry. I mean, seeing you happy is fine. I like when the Islanders
Fuck
win.
me.
I think it's
I'm
funny
an
to watch
asshole.
you go crazy. But what did you say?
I said, "Fuck me, I'm an asshole." Like,
Yeah.
my dad
That's
is
kind of
a
what I was getting
saint.
to. But seeing your father, Mr. Borelli, happy and people chanting his name and people filling out his restaurant and seeing that place come back to life, that is a true joy.
Right.
It's really great to watch, and it's people chant Mr. Borelli's name like that's really the coolest thing you could ask for, honestly.
Think about that guy was like sweeping the floors in an empty, dark restaurant and like probably wondering if he was ever going to hear just like tables moving and chairs moving, just that sound of a restaurant. And now he's standing in that same spot hearing radiating, echoing chants for his name because like he made it and Barstool made it and like the world made it. That is so fucking cool. They weren't chanting because of the Islanders. Like it was a moment of like even 18-year-old kids that were in the back. They were like outside on the other side of the bar, were trying to scream in like Mr. Brett. Like even young kids knew. It was really cool to see, and it's just like it makes me just proud about like the community and Islander fans and just the world in general. It's just fucking awesome, and whatever happens with the Islanders, I care very much. But the fact that we're able to experience this, I'm just so grateful for. I really am.
Your father, too, being best friends with John Feidelberg on the live streams is and Feidelberg's, one of all of our favorite people on planet Earth. And so the two of them just gelling and becoming boys is one of the more heartwarming things. It's like it's like when soldiers in like World War II were singing Christmas carols together from across the trenches. It's like those are our guys.
It's I'm trying to become less superstitious, and I think I really have been. Like, I didn't want to go to Boston because the Islanders are playing at the Coliseum. I've never missed a game at the Coliseum. They're going to lose. They end up winning in Boston, and you know what I mean. Like, it's starting to just like erase from my memory that like I have no effect on the fucking hockey game. But there's a part of me that's like, when you stick my dad next to Feidelberg, the Bruins have like no chance. Like Feidelberg's guard is down now because he can't fight back the way he wants to. Even though that has nothing to do with the game, I sit there at the game and I'm like, we're okay because that guy over there, that crazy Feidelberg, he's contained. Like my dad has him in check. And like that is a huge part. Like that's momentum for us, even though it doesn't make any sense. But you know what I mean? Like you're watching them, they're cheersing. I'm like, oh, we got these guys.
Totally, he's killed him with kindness. He's just totally brought him in, and no, you say you're not a part of the team, and you're not, I guess. But it is funny that you have this platform where you come on, and it's like a press conference where we ask you about the game. You come on, and you're like, yeah, all right, well, yeah, it was a tough game. We're going to 6 games. Like it's just the whole thing is absurd, but it's the most fun thing in the world.
Oh, I'm getting texts after big wins from the players being like, what you guys are doing at Barstool, not me, but like what's happening right now with this rivalry, and it's good for the league. I've gotten that text from multiple players, like big time players on the New York Islanders, not even just saying it's like, oh, this is awesome. They're like, dude, this is big for the NHL that like there's this much hype around a fucking second round series, and like people are lining up to get into a restaurant at 6:30 on a Monday. Like that's pretty fucking cool that's happening.
Trent said, he's like, dude, is not a big hockey guy. He's like, I'm glued to what's going to happen in every single game of a second-round series between Boston, which he has no tie to, and Long Island, which he has no tie to. And he's like, he's like, I wish I didn't have the fucking Bachelorette because I want to be able to watch this hockey game.
Right.
So that's just one man. That's just one person that it's affecting.
Man.
Of course it's good for the league.
It's cool. It's just cool to hear them say that because they're also passionate about the league. And like it's weird to hear that because like they represent the league. When the league does better, they do better, and it's just better for their kids growing up and playing and watching. So it's really cool to just see everything. The world is just getting back, man. Let's go! I fucking love it, and I hope the Islanders. I hope you guys are listening to this. And I was at the Coliseum and I watched the Islanders win. And if I didn't, and they lost, you better know that I'm fucking ready for Game 7. I don't want those vibes right now, but I will be ready for whatever comes my way. As a fan, I'm very happy.
Frankie, we were all together, the Classic crew, so we were kind of just looking at the clips. We weren't watching like the full stream in real time. But is it to the point, like, is it too crazy yet? Like, are people jumping up, like grabbing your nipples or like what is it? What is going on? Is it anything ridiculous or is it still containable?
Well, it's ridiculous, but we had security, which was great. But the fans, so I made a huge decision or improvement to my decision where everyone behind me, I basically knew every single person, or I knew the person that brought those people behind us. So there was no like psychopath outliers in the crowd lurking around. Everyone was like respectful in the point where they weren't going to jump on Marina and like fucking put her in a headlock, because I was nervous about that game like too, like that was going to start happening. So that was I was at ease. But when you have a game where you score 5 goals and you come back and like by the 5th goal I legitimately just had nothing left. Like it's like, how are you supposed to keep going and screaming and jumping into the crowd? Like I started seeing black, I started seeing stars. I sat down, I like had to check my pulse. We have this little finger thing that checks your oxygen level. I brought it with me. Like I sat in the back of Borelli's and I was like a 95, which is like not good. Like it's like kind of nerve-wracking. So it's getting kind of crazy. I just want this to be over. I want to go on to the next round. The Lightning just won. I just got that notification. So they are the next team waiting for the Bruins or the Islanders. So it's never going to be easy. I'm happy. Thank you to all the listeners on this golf podcast that are dealing with me during this ridiculously weird and fun time in my life. I want to extend a very big thank you to you, your family, your wives, your husbands, your kids, your mother-in-laws, your moms, your dads, the whole family. You know, you don't want to hear me talk about fucking hockey all the time. I get it. But listen, it's something that I'm going through. It's my life, and I can't stop. I can't stop. I'm sorry.
I'll say it's gotten to the point at the Classics, people are asking me, how's Frankie doing? How is he handling everything? And then they're also, it's sort of become a you need to pick sides thing with anyone that's involved. So, we get a good amount of people that show up from Boston that are like, hey, Rickie, like, fuck those Islanders, son. I'm like, nah, I'm kind of pulling for the Islanders. They're like, well, fuck you, too. It's like turns into a little bit of a thing because it's capturing so many people, but it's good. It's like, like you said, it's good for the game. People, this is why we watch sports. This is why we get so jacked up for whether it's somebody we like in golf or we talk about the Ryder Cup. Having a team that's in it, that means a lot to you, is what being a fucking sports fan is. So it's very cool. Good luck. I am rooting for the Islanders. I don't like the Boston Bruins, especially ever since our series against them a few years ago, that you're just going to build in those rivalries. And then the added aspect of Mr. Borelli, Stu Feiner, you.
Oh, Stu Feiner. Unbelievable. Stu Feiner's unreal. He's unbelievable. It's I was sitting around before, I think game 2, whatever game he came to. Yeah, I guess game 2. I was like, how do I get some more firepower here? Because game 1 was a nightmare. And I was like, I just looked at Stu. I saw him come up on Twitter. Like, didn't even know if he was going to say yes or if he's an Islander fan or anything. I was like, do you want to come tonight? And he wrote back, I fucking love you. I'll be there like a raging bull or whatever he wrote. And he hasn't stopped, man. He has not stopped.
You were looking for any sort of firepower, any sort of weapon, and you just came upon a nuclear bomb and carried it into Borelli's with you. And you're like, this is what I have now. He's as much energy as you can pack into one body.
And his my cousins went to school with all his kids, and so they're able to, he knows my family, he knows my aunt, he's kissing her on the cheek, he's kissing my cousin that he coached in baseball on the cheek. I haven't seen you in fucking 13 years! Look at this guy! He never lets off the gas, he's insane. No. And his kids are great. His son is unbelievable. He makes sure Stu's in the right spot, and Stu doesn't get out of control. It's fucking, the whole thing's just what an experience. But
the fact that all of these things are part of the same stream,
it's insane. Like
your dad, how crazy you are. Stu Feiner, and he actually is a million notches above you guys. Marina is like a silent assassin type crazy.
Oh yeah.
And then Fights is like a lunatic, a lovable lunatic the whole thing, and then we haven't even gotten to the fan. So yeah, it's the best.
Be fun.
Good luck. We're rooting for you guys. The Wingman from Bushnell is also the best. We're going to talk about some of the features, but one that a few people DM me, like the fact you guys haven't mentioned this yet, which is true, we keep forgetting it, is that you can program into it chirps that the Wingman can just say. So just like you can like hit a button and get the actual yardages at any point, you can also program it in, hit a button, and it will just like say something that you want the wingman to say, which is a hilarious feature. So like right before one of your buddies hits, you program in to call him, a clown or whatever, and the wingman will do it to a degree. So the wingman not only has phenomenal sound system that you should bring into the shower so you don't ruin your laptop by reaching out to the keyboard with a wet finger, it not only has an amazing bite magnet that is like when creatures bite and it just sticks to the bar all the time. It not only syncs up to the Bushnell app that gives you the flyover view of every hole, but it also allows you to chirp people on the golf course, which is a very funny thing when a robot chirps people.
The chirp is very funny. I got the same DM and I didn't even believe it. I mean, I guess I just didn't read the manual enough. I didn't know if that was a thing. It's right there in settings. You can just put a customizable, you can either have a cheer, you can have a boo, or it just says custom message. And you can write whatever the hell you want and it's going to say it. And it's pretty funny the way it comes out because it's a little like, it's like AI speaking to the person. So like there's a funny way to have the humor in that, like a very serious monotone, like computer speaking ridiculous things is always going to get a laugh out of me. So, Bushnell just thought of everything. That's just, they thought about how it's going to stick to the golf cart. And they also thought about how they're going to make people laugh. It's pretty funny.
Go to bushnellgolf.com/Fore, order your Wingman Golf Speaker today. It is just a must-have at this point. So go to bushnellgolf.com/Fore. A few things in the world of golf before we get to Mr. Hal Sutton. Bryson and Brooks update. Bryson said essentially that he just thinks that their little feud, their little rivalry is good for golf, which is kind of the high road that we thought he was going to take or that he was going to attempt to take. He said, I think a good jesting rivalry is good for the game of golf, nothing too extreme. DeChambeau said of the Rocket Mortgage Classics Media Day, but at the same point in time, that's all outside of the spectrum of what we're here for today. And I think the most important thing is to be talking about what Rocket Mortgage is doing for the 313 area. And I think the Change the Course initiative is something that's bigger than the game of golf compared to a rivalry. So he literally took like the most high road that you could possibly take, talking about what a sponsor is doing for a community, which is right on brand with Bryson, and he always brings up his sponsors whenever he wins. So just a super Bryson, almost laughably like caricature Bryson response from Bryson, which is kind of what we've grown to expect from Bryson.
A good jesting is the most Bryson DeChambeau way to refer to like a beef, a social media beef, or the beef that he has going on with Brooks. But he's talking about this thing that's going on with him and Brooks in a way that he doesn't engage in what's going on. He's simply giving a summary of what's happening. And it's a lot about what we talked about on that show, how this is a guy who no longer wants to be involved in this, to the point now where he is taking the highest road he can find. And instead of getting into the mud, as we call it here at Barstool Sports, when asked about this, he instead talks about what is going on with this thing with Brooks. He could be throwing jabs and barbs in these interviews, but instead he's like, I don't want to be involved with this, so I'm now just going to talk about what is going on and what it could potentially lead to. So it's a little bit of, it's more of the same. And I think we're going to get, this is the line of thinking we're going to get from from Bryson throughout this whole thing until it's over, I guess.
Yeah, more of the same for sure. I mean, this is just right out of the Bryson playbook. The only play now that we don't know yet, like we can always foresee what Bryson is going to do. He's never going to step out of the line. He's always going to say something that's just like embarrassingly soft in the response, and we're going to be like, oh man, it's starting to get a little sad that he can't just like fire back because that's just not how he's built. And the only thing we don't know that we cannot predict is what Brooks will do next. Will he continue to keep the foot on the gas? Will he continue to be a little bit like corny and lame with some of the things that he does? Will he continue to be just mean? Will he continue to do all that stuff? Or will he just like give up? And that's something we just don't know what he's going to do yet. I genuinely think he probably will give up at this point after we've last talked. Just because so many people on Twitter had that same thought that we did, where it's just like at some point, man, like you're appealing to some people where you're just gonna be like, keep hammering him home, foot on the gas, kill him, make him quit golf forever. And part of me would probably always be like that kind of person where it's like bury him. I mean, I did say that Tiger should make
Abraham Answer.
Abraham Answer, never play the game of golf again. Like, I love carnage. I love making people cry. But, like, man, like, there's a lot of people saying, like, all right, this is, like, just weird now.
Yeah, I guess, you know what, a question we've never asked in regards to this situation is, what's the end goal for a guy like Brooks? And I understand, like, the motivation right now is he clearly gets under this guy's skin when the guy who he's getting under the skin of claims that it's not getting under his skin. And the feedback that Brooks is getting right now from social media largely is like, Brooks is killing this guy, and it's very funny, and oh, this is amazing, and that's got to feel good. That's got to trigger some dopamine in Brooks's brain, being like, I am dominating this guy in such a way that people are loving it. But like, where do we go? Where does it end? Where do we stop?
I think you can ask that with any like rivalry or debate. I don't know that we ever know like what the final like outcome is. Like when I'm fighting with a friend or anything, or I have a rivalry of someone that I genuinely don't like, I don't know what I'm seeking when I'm either being mean or avoiding them, or like, what do I want them to die? I don't know, like what the like what is the answer? I don't know, like what, yeah, like do they, yeah, like,
no, you're right.
Does he want him to like submit like his golf clubs to him and be like, you win?
Yeah, you're right.
Bryson, I am Bryson DeChambeau, and I submit my 1-length iron golf clubs to you. You now have the 1-length irons. Here's my protractor. I am done playing the game of golf. You win. It's like Brooks is like, yeah.
You're right. And Brooks probably doesn't know what he doesn't have an end goal. He's just having fun with this scenario. But it is like, what are we heading towards? And there is no answer, I suppose.
There is no answer. You can ask any bully that in high school, or you can ask whatever. It's like, what do you want that other person to do?
Because even the scenario where you're like bend the knee, and you're going far with like quick golf, but he has bent the knee. He's like, I don't necessarily want to be involved in this anymore.
Well, the only outcome is that Brooks wants to just be liked more. It's like you just keep going up, keep going up, keep going up. Oh, if I make this joke about Bryson, I'm going to get more followers. I'm going to get more likes. I'm going to get more laughs, more podcast appearances. I'm going to do this, blah, blah, blah. Oh, yeah, I'm going to keep doing it.
That's
about
probably
Bryson.
The best answer, yeah.
Yeah.
And Bryson said, like, I've personally got no issue. It's something that he's up for discussion. If you want to talk to Koepka about that, you can, but I've got no issues. And then even Spieth said, about the whole Brooksy issue at the Memorial, he said, any bad hole, someone was yelling Brooksy, and then any good hole, people were yelling, go Bryson, almost louder than the Brooksy stuff. It was like a pseudo-rivalry, and Koepka wasn't even there.
Yeah, which is, the pseudo rivalry. What is the definition of pseudo?
Like fake.
Fake.
Okay. Yeah, because I thought that's what he was, referring to. And at that point, I mean, it is a real rivalry at this point.
It's real.
Jordan.
What's up, boys?
Whoa.
Just an all-time Lurch move to just pop in out of the clouds in. Yeah, it's just Lurch. Hey, Lurch,
right.
What's up?
How we doing? Good to see everybody. Everybody's looking swell. Yeah, just massive travel day. Just another one. Leaving O'Hare. Nobody likes O'Hare.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough because the listeners, they don't even know what you're talking about. They have no clue what you're talking about.
That's pretty awesome.
I didn't know if you guys, because I was going to join 10 minutes ago. But anyways, I was traveling from Charlotte to O'Hare. Just got off the plane. Was hoping to join about an hour ago. However, that wasn't the case because I just got stuck in weather delays, traffic. My buddy, my rep, who's sitting right here next to me, did the classic speed up to slow down situation. He ran, got the rent-a-car. I got the bags. That just took more time. So anyways, now I'm just way behind schedule, but it's good to see everybody's faces.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's nice to see your face too. Is it? It looks like is it the sun still up there somehow? Is that what's going on here?
No, I think those are actually pretty beautiful sky. I'm not going to turn it, but gorgeous little rainbow
Wow.
and kind of cotton candy sky kind of shimmying off the glass. But I don't mean to interrupt the conversation around pseudo. That seemed riveting.
Yeah, we're discussing a little Brooks Koepka, Bryson DeChambeau, the latest and some Spieth comments, and then your mug just kind of appeared on our WebEx, so there you were.
I saw a couple smiles, and then Frankie looked to the side. Frankie, you getting ready for battle tomorrow?
Yes. I'm not going to get into it because we just talked about it, and I think people are going to fucking strangle me. But yes, I am. We're in the Coliseum, so I'm just very grateful to be there, and it'll be fun.
Well done. Good luck.
Thank you.
But yeah, I think more of the same. I think that's pretty much what it looks like right now with Brooks and Bryson. I think everybody understands that. I touch on Rickie Fowler. Rickie Fowler missed out on U.S. Open qualifying by a shot in terms of getting into a playoff. Will not play at Torrey. He is, of course, part of the same stable as our very own Trent Ryan when it comes to notable players who are underneath the expertise of golf instructor John Tillery. So you, Trent, is this a personal setback for kind of your stable and your crew, or how do you feel about it?
No, I don't feel that way at all. John Tillery is obviously a great swing coach, and Rickie's been playing well recently. He played well at Kiowa. He played well at the Memorial. Obviously, he'd love to be playing in the U.S. Open. He didn't play in the Masters. He hung out at Tiger's house. But, I think in terms of what it's like to be Rickie Fowler right now, it's not nearly as bad as it has been in the past few months. Before he played well in the PGA Championship and then again at this last weekend, people were just like, I don't know what's going on with Rickie Fowler. It's just crazy. But I think it's fine. It certainly doesn't hurt the JT John Tillery stable. I'm on the up and up. He's on the up and up. Things are looking good for us.
Yeah, because at one point, Rickie Fowler was taking direct shots from Sir Nick Faldo on Twitter about not, playing in the Masters, and now he is on the up and up. He finished tied for 8th at Kiowa. He played very well at the Memorial, like you said, and he played well. It's really hard to get through U.S., that especially that sectional qualifying for the U.S. Open, and he missed it by just one shot with, I think it was a little chip on his last hole that came up a roll short. He obviously had a good attitude about it. He always does, but I was just curious if you have some special bond now, you feel like, with Rickie Fowler as the same man that has sculpted and will be sculpting Rickie Fowler's game is using those hands to sculpt our very own Trent Ryan as well. So I didn't know if that kind of led to something.
Unfortunately, I've never had any personal interaction with Rickie Fowler. Neither has this show. Where we'd be more than happy to have him on at any point if he wants to come on. But in terms of, we're kind of all pulling for the same thing where I want John Tillery to be happy, and I think Rickie Fowler shares that same sentiment. So if I play well and if Rickie Fowler plays well, again, we're part of the same stable. So if we both end up playing well, then John Tillery is happy, and I think that's really the ultimate goal. Maybe the ultimate goal might be breaking 100, breaking 90. Rickie's goals might be a little different than that, but at the end of the day, when John Tillery can look at the guys in his stable and be happy about what's going on with them, I know that brings him peace, and that's kind of the goal that we're all pulling for.
Do you think when you achieve breaking 100, you'll get maybe a message from your stable partner?
I don't have any expectations about that.
Okay.
I will be honest, and I haven't been messaging Rickie about his recent success at Kiowa and at the Memorial, so I wouldn't necessarily expect him to.
You know what, Trent? I think
you should.
Oh yeah, let me do that right now.
You know what, Trent? I think you fucking should.
Here we go. Yeah, if we're all going to be part of the same stable, it seems crazy that we're not connected at some level. I'm gonna get on his Instagram.
How are you gonna start this message? What's up, partner? What's up, bro?
What's up, stable mate?
Okay.
Oh,
that's a good one.
Is that going to be on Twitter?
No. No. I'm gonna do a private DM on Instagram.
Are you really gonna write Are you really gonna write stablemate?
You don't think that's a good lead?
I love it. I fucking love it. I think it's so preposterous that.
Here's what I'll do. Because that might confuse him. It might disorient him a little bit. So I'll say, "Hey, stablemate," and then in parentheses I'll put John Tillery.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I'll do it. That makes the most sense.
Really good. Yeah.
Hey, stablemate. Is that one word or two?
I think you rip whatever.
Either just whatever looks more natural.
It's looking like one.
I do very much enjoy it when I scroll through John Tillery's Instagram story, and it'll be 2 or 3 up closes of Kevin Kisner, and then the next one is Trent Ryan, stretching upside down on a fucking door, and you guys are just part of the same team, man. He's trying to get all these same people to play better golf, and you're part of that.
It was funny that I sent John or JT a text the other day, and he's a little bit in my school where he's okay at responding to text messages. He's I could kind of see why people they get frustrated with me sometimes, but But then I saw on his Insta story that he was working with kids, and I was like, oh, he's just working with one of my stablemates. So it's like if they're out there grinding, he probably is not looking at his phone too much.
Where are we at with the crafting of this message?
All right, so I'm at hey stablemate in parentheses John Tillery. So I think I probably have to lead with the most recent event where he missed out on the qualifying by 1 stroke. So I want to be like, what do I say next?
You know, tough one this week, but really like where things are heading for the team.
Yeah, I would say
great showing at
that.
PGA and again at the Memorial. Things are looking up.
Feels like both of our games are on the up and up or something like that. Just
I
prove
think
yourself into that.
along the lines of like, yeah, you guys are in it together, that you kind of mutually share each other's success and improvement in golf is how you got to frame it.
I definitely want to end it on something like, I want to allude to just how frustrating the game of golf is and how we're connected on that level.
To that same point, do we have that tailor-made tour bag still that's FOREPLAY? Because I would love to put Trent Ryan's name on that and get that in JT's just in the stall. So you're looking at like Rickie,
Now we're talking.
Solid.
Kisner, Trent Ryan.
Now we're
Good
talking.
idea.
We're gonna start working on that for sure.
But
There's no
I
doubt.
think hold on, but like when we were at the Kingdom, they said that you can't get one of those bags at the Kingdom unless you win a major. So maybe like can Trent not get one of those bags in JT's facility until he breaks 100?
Yes, that is correct.
Yes, that's fine. But as soon
All
as he
right.
does, it's just right in front of Rickie's face when he goes to drain. He's like, how the hell? This could be our first in with Rickie.
And there's also pictures of like when Kisner's won, he takes a picture with the trophy. I would like, not only would I like the tour bag in the facility because that's a great idea. I want to hold a piece of paper, like Wilt Chamberlain-esque when he scored 100. Yeah, whatever I shoot, 99, 98, 91, whatever. I want to be holding that up, and then I'm going to take a picture. I'm going to have that framed. And I want JT to put that up in his little bay there. I think that'd look good too.
Yep.
Is a video coming out tonight? Is
Yes.
Jake in the background? Yeah, tonight. We haven't even talked about that yet. Tonight, and while you construct this Instagram message, Trent, we have to promote this on YouTube, BarstoolSports.com. Trent Ryan makes his first attempt post John Tillery surgery and physical therapy and everything that he went through in Georgia. This is his first attempt. We are at Brookville Country Club. This is where we met a bunch of cast of characters. And you're gonna see just maybe the best. It's there is so much drama. It's the best type of like movie atmosphere of Trent trying to break 100. There's highs, there's lows. It's
Frankie,
fantastic.
par 72, or what is the length of the course?
I believe it was a par 71. I think we played it from like 67, 6,800.
It's a good test.
I could have just made all that up, but Joe LaCava was there.
He was.
This is the Joe LaCava round.
Joe LaCava was there, and it was quite the scene. Joe LaCava is on certain greens watching Trent putt. He wants to know everything about it. So you're gonna want to watch this because the first video. If you watch the first video, you now are a part of this journey.
Yes, you are. You're locked in. You are invested in Trent Ryan, much like people are invested in John Tillery's stable, which is why Trent Ryan is crafting a message to his stablemate Rickie Fowler right now. But go to our YouTube channel, check out Trent's first episode of actually trying to break 100. This was one, too, that on the podcast got a lot of play because you guys were telling and teasing the things that occurred during that day. I remember our group text was popping because people, you guys couldn't believe the scenario, the situation, the things that occurred that day, and now we're going to get a lot of it in the video. So I, for one, I'm ready to take this journey with Trent. And as a viewer that has not seen any of the footage, that has not been there for any of these rounds, that wasn't there in Georgia, I am like you out there listening, and I have just hopped on to this vessel, and I am floating down the river of the journey that is Trent Ryan trying to get better at golf, and I'm witnessing all of this with you, literally in the same boat, and I cannot wait for tonight's episode to see how my friend Trent progresses in his game, because I've heard whispers that, it's
Things
really
are
interesting to watch.
Right.
Hips are fucking moving. Things are happening.
I think if you see hopefully, woo, there's a voice crack. I think I'm excited to see one of these new swings where if the confidence stays and those hips are firing, that's going to be all-time. I mean, that's going to be the most exciting swing in all of golf. I think we all believe, certainly, that you can break 100. I think even if you missed the first video, go back and watch it, because rooting for Trent to break 100 is just rooting for the good guys of golf. And I'm all for it. I can't wait. I mean, you've got the putting down. Hopefully that maintains or holds up, because what we saw in the Olympic was, yowzer, was that bad. But it's there. It's in the bag. Go Trent Ryan.
Trent,
All
let's
right.
read this message out loud.
I got a little bit of writer's block once we. All right. This is the message that I want to send to Rickie Fowler.
Do you still just have hey stablemate?
No, I got more than
It
that.
seems like not much.
No, I got hey stablemate in parentheses John Tillery. Tough one this week, but it seems like the game is heading in the right direction. Great showing at the PGA and the Memorial. Golf is a frustrating beast, but we've got the best swing coach in the world, and now I'm stuck.
Right. I mean, I think that's too much already. Like, if you got that, would you read that whole message?
If it was from my stablemate, yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's too much. I liked, I think you really have to talk to him like a teammate, not like a guy who wants to talk to Rickie Fowler. So you want to say like, hey, stablemate, John Tillery, tough one this week, but we have things trending in the right direction. Great.
Yeah, that's good.
We have things trending in the right direction. You look good at the USO at the PGA.
Say loved what I saw at the PGA
Yes.
and the Memorial.
Yeah. Loved, or maybe loved what we saw. It's like
What
you and
we
JT.
saw, loved what we saw.
That's a
Right.
huge team thing. Loved what we saw at the PGA and the Memorial. We all know this game. ... Let's keep trending in the right direction. If you want to say something about like how the game, I know that you're like stuck on. You want to say the game is tough. So like,
Your first bit, Frankie, was spot on. I think we can tweak the back end of that. But I loved what we saw. I think is brilliant. Like the inclusive comments and making it a team aspect is
Totally.
spot on.
I did.
Yeah,
I liked all of that, honestly.
Yeah, you just addressed the whole
What do you have,
thing. Like
Trent?
you guys are one unit together. Like it's not him, you separate. Like Frankie said, you gotta eradicate any language that makes it seem like you just want to talk to Rickie Fowler, and include all language that's like, we got this, buddy. We're doing great.
yeah, I think it's as simple as saying like, we got this, man. Let's keep this thing rolling. Like that's just like, and we all fucking run out into the field. I don't think you overthink it anymore. I think you just fucking write that down, read it out loud, and let's fucking get on our way. 2 hours into this podcast, I think we fucking send that thing.
All right. Hey, stablemate, John Tillery. Tough one this week, but we have things trending in the right direction. Loved what we saw at the PGA and the Memorial. We got this, man. Let's keep this thing rolling.
Send it.
Fucking send it to your teammate, man.
Send it
that's
to
your
your
that's your stablemate. Just
Hashtag Till Gang or no?
no.
Yes.
Yes, I like it.
Yes.
Well, wait. Is that something you want to live with?
Hashtag Tilgang is incredible.
Is that something that's gonna stick? Is that something that's gonna
Yes.
stick? Because that's gonna stick now. That's gonna stick. Till Gang is now okay.
Till gang.
That's it.
Tilgang is perfect.
Hashtag Till Gang.
Oh,
That's a good hashtag.
I'm gonna get a text from JT being like, "Hey, I just heard
He
from
just cuts you. He
Ricky.
he goes, yeah, we're not gonna.
Okay.
We're gonna start throwing this out, we're
Hashtag
not.
Till Gang is
Ooh,
fucking
that's funny
fantastic.
we got this, man. Let's keep this thing rolling." Hashtag Till Gang. Okay.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good message.
Fucking
I
fire.
just sent it.
To Rickie Fowler.
Yeah, to Rickie Fowler.
That just hit his
All right.
phone.
I love that. I want to say, whew, man, that made me laugh really hard. Till Gang is so good. I want to, we're doing Barstool Classic down here. We've had Uncle Chaps, one of my favorite people in the world, who's been here for a couple of days. I hadn't seen Uncle Chaps in like a year and a half. He led, actually. This is a big Ice Cream Sunday crew. He led dinner on Sunday night when I hadn't seen him. First order, not appetizer or whatever. He just led with an ice cream sundae.
No way, dude.
Which
What?
I've
What?
just never seen that before.
Did he make
was
an
like,
announcement like an upside down dinner? Because I've done that before, or do you just
no
go
man,
for it?
he just like, I was like, yeah, we'll do some chips and salsa. And then Chap's like, yeah, I'm gonna do ice cream sundae. And
What was his next part of his meal?
he got like a fruit salad.
Dude, what the fuck, man?
It was, and he said, he's like, man, I'm like a really busy like father of two who never leaves anywhere, goes anywhere, and I'm here by myself for a couple days. I'm gonna get whatever I want, and right now I want an ice cream sundae, so that's what I got, and it was awesome.
I guess like why beat around the bush? At some point you want that ice cream sundae, just rip it right off the top.
It was heroic, and he said, he's like, a lot of times I get too full, and I'm not able to fully enjoy the dessert part of the meal, so I just led with it, and it was a heroic move. He was great to hang out with for a couple days. Will Compton from Bussin' with the Boys came down. He's such a nice dude. Was interacting with everybody. Was shaking hands, talking a lot just about his status and being in Nashville and chilling with everybody. And then Weather Girl Hannah was here, who's getting very into golf, who has a pretty good golf swing, by the way, and is gonna be a problem, I think, because people are gonna chirp that she's better than us. But the whole crew down here just kind of getting through the Classic in Austin. A couple Texas stops, been really hot, has been phenomenal. So I just wanted to shout that crew out. And we're on our way to a Penn property, La Berge, in Lake Charles on Thursday. So when people are listening to the show,
Lake Charles, where? Where's Lake Charles?
Louisiana.
Okay, unbelievable. Yeah, I've heard that we have a great property in Louisiana for Penn National. I've heard that multiple times. Great golf course. I've heard that from Penn people. When I first met them, they heard that I was a golfer and we had a golf podcast. They're like, "Oh man, wait until you get down to Lake Charles."
Dude, they got a bunch of stuff lined up for us. So when we were at the M in Vegas, we were all excited because all the amenities, but things weren't quite fully open. Our rooms were insane and so cool, and I think they're rolling it out even better for this because things are like reopened now. So we're really excited. They got some stuff planned. We got like a full itinerary on Wednesday. So I can't wait to get to the Penn property there, La Berge, and just check it out in Lake Charles. So it's going to be a great time. Barstool Classic rolls on. We're getting close to halfway through the whole thing. We're not quite there yet. Dude Wipes is a sponsor of the Barstool Classic. They've been there pretty much since the beginning. And we got to have a serious chat about bathroom habits. I imagine this crew knows quite a lot about bathroom habits. Time to quit scratchy toilet paper. That'll ruin your whole week. That'll ruin your whole year. When you wash your face, your hands, your body, you use water to get yourself clean. So the dirtiest thing that we do, which might be what you do with your ass, why would we use dry toilet paper? Like that does that make any sense, John?
No, it makes no sense.
I bet you Chaps was working it out in the bathroom after that ice cream sundae
Right.
started.
I was thinking that too.
Totally.
I had a
Some
little
Dude
bathroom.
Wipes.
I had a little bathroom issue the other day at a wedding.
Go on.
I scoped out during the appetizer, hors d'oeuvre hour, cocktail hour, the bathroom in that room, knowing we would then go to another part of the vicinity, right? Mm-hmm. Vicinity. I knew that we would be going to another part of the building for the actual main event, for the actual wedding, for the reception. And because I knew I had to go to the bathroom. I felt the poopies coming on. And I said, I'm going to have to maneuver my way back to a bathroom that is not going to be occupied, right? Like we're in this area of the building now. We will be in another building later. So I did the whole thing. I ended up walking. It's like a 5-minute walk to this bathroom. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to murder this thing. This is awesome. I'm going to lay loose in this thing, right? So I sit down and I'm like, I'm about to do my business. And, a door fucking opens. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? And now this guy goes right next to me. He sits right next to me in the same right in the next fucking stall. I said, are you fucking kidding me? I planned this out. I walked my way. I'm the one that needs to be alone right now. And lo and behold, all my fears and all the reasoning why I wanted to leave happened. I had sometimes it gets a little loud for some people. Like once in a while, you'll be tooting the horn, and it was happening to me, man, and I couldn't get rid of it. And this guy's sitting right next to me, fucking listening to the whole thing. I'm playing him a fucking melody, man. It was crazy. I was going all different octaves. I couldn't stop, bro. I was trying to figure it out. I'm pulling my ass cheeks apart. I'm like, how do I get this thing to stop making noise? It was getting higher and louder. Every push was just another fucking song. It was like a fucking bird, dude. I couldn't fucking stop. I was like an elephant. And
the best part, this is gonna be the leeway into Hal Sutton. This is gonna be like the last. thing
no, bro!
Oh yeah, no, keep going. You're doing great.
No, please keep doing it.
I'm sure
Frankie.
it's gonna play at our next fucking G4 summit, whatever the fuck we call that thing.
Yeah.
When our ad guy Stephen Che plays one of our when I go on and on and on about stupid shit like farting while I poop. He's going to play it for our whole fucking company and every single person that's ever worked for Barstool. Shout out Stephen Che. My point being, if I had some dude wipes, maybe it wouldn't have been so... Maybe there's some science to it was a little dry under there or something. Maybe a little moisture would have helped me out. And dude wipes, I just need to always bring those things with me.
Yeah.
Well, Frankie, you can find dude wipes at Amazon or dude wipes at Walmart, Target, nationwide, or go to dudewipes.com. Use the code FORE15, that's FORE15. You're going to get 15% off your entire order. So go to dudewipes.com, code FORE15, get 15% off your entire order. All right. That is a really good way to bring in now an incredibly special guest who is legitimately awesome. I think people are going to be here pumped to talk to him. He's just one of those guys like I would have never thought we'd have Hal Sutton on. He's such an interesting character. He's been a part of such interesting things that have happened in the last, 20, 25 years of golf. So here is Hal Sutton. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're joined by one of my favorites. Honestly, just one of my favorite guys to watch. He's got a phenomenal resume when it comes to golf. Major champion, 14-time PGA Tour champion. He's won the Players Championship twice. Won the PGA Championship at famed Riviera, and he is the caller of one of the most famous calls in the history of golf. Hal Sutton, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Rick. Appreciate it. Glad to be on with y'all.
Yeah, we're pumped for this one. We've been kind of talking in our group, but I can't even imagine. I mean, I know you named your podcast after it, but I can't even imagine how many times in a week or so you probably hear "Beat the Right Club Today."
Well, in the golf environment, a lot of people know the phrase and use the phrase. And as I say all the time, I'm glad I was able to give that phrase to the golf world. It was an iconic moment for me. That came out of a moment of passion, to be honest with you. I didn't want to have to play another hole against Tiger. I'd gone far enough. So
incredible. No, I mean it is. It's and it's rare. I mean, in any sport, like a call is usually known for an announcer, Jim Nance. This is like the guy that hit the shot called his own shot, and it's just so good.
Well, it was to be frank about how that came about. I hit the shot. I had the yardage. I hit the club exactly the way I wanted to hit it. It's headed right at the hole, and I knew the only thing that could keep me from winning that tournament at that point was something out of my control, wind or something. And I'm just looking at it thinking, please be what I'm seeing,
Yeah, it was.
Was that like a go-to line for you, like growing up playing, or is that something that just came out of the blue?
That came out of the blue. I have no idea where it came from. It just, it's in the air. It's headed right at the flag, and I'm thinking, do not fool me. Just be what I'm looking at.
That's amazing.
I tell you, not long after that, y'all remember Tom Watson hit the perfect shot at the British Open, and somehow it went over the green.
Yep.
And that's how, we're splitting hairs out there. All these guys today, they're splitting hairs. And, it can just as easily go the other way.
We actually just brought that scenario up recently when we were talking about analytics, right? Like you can have all the perfect numbers written down on a sheet of paper. You can know exactly what club to hit on what certain day, on what certain pin, on what certain hole. But at the end of the day, you can hit the perfect analytical shot, and something that, nature or something that you couldn't control is going to happen to that ball, like Tom Watson, and it can cost you a major championship. It really makes you think about the game and that the level of impact the nature has.
Well, I think that's what we love about the game as golfers. We love the fact that we know we can't perfect it, and trying to learn how to control the things we can control, and stop trying to control the things that we can't control. That's the beauty, and that's the art of the game right there.
Man, that year too, 2000 is known for Tiger Woods and maybe the best year of golf that's ever been played. He took down everybody that year. He's beating people by 15 shots, by 8 shots, and at one of the more iconic venues in the world. You stood up to him, and one of the very few that went toe to toe, that took him down. Like for you looking back, historically and in context, like how impressive, for yourself even is that to look at now?
Well, TPC, power's not the most important thing at Sawgrass. Pete Dye, all of his golf course, he designed where it's point A to point B to point C. And I did that pretty darn good. And at the time I was playing really, really well. And, I knew that I could beat him. The night before the last round, in the press tent, they're trying to tell me every reason why I should succumb. And I finally got up and I said, look, this morning when I was saying my prayers and I was on my knees, I said, I was not praying to Tiger Woods. That makes him a man just like me. And we'll go out there and we'll settle this tomorrow. Enough said. And, I just was fed up with the way the world was handling Tiger at the time. And, the week before he had beat Davis Love. Davis had a 3-shot lead on him at Bay Hill, and Tiger came back and beat him. And Colin Montgomery had told everybody in the press tent that week that everybody was playing for second. Nobody could beat Tiger. And the world needed to know someone could beat Tiger. And, I felt like I was not only playing for Hal Sutton, I felt like I was playing for you and everybody else that was a golfer, because, that's what we love about golf, is the competition. People trying to win golf tournaments, being close to winning and losing, not just, predetermined.
And if you gave me like a pump-up speech every morning, I would be the most successful human being on earth. You're like giving me chills the way you talk about that. About like he's just a man. Like, let's go out there and beat him. It's awesome. It's just and it makes sense because you went out there and you did it. You didn't back down. You hit awesome golf shots. It's giving me the chills. We're all big Tiger guys. I think you probably are too, but it's just giving me the chills.
Well, let me tell you, there's even more to this story than you may know about. The year before in '99, I'd played really, really well. And I called my caddy, Freddie, and I said, in December, and I said, I want you to come into my office. And so he comes into the office, and I said, Freddie, somewhere on the West Coast, we're going to get paired with Tiger Woods the first 2 days. I know it's coming. And I said, I have a mission for both of us. We've got to beat him both rounds. And Freddie says, well, why is that important the first 2 days? And I said, there's 3 people that need to know this can be done. You, me, and Tiger. And I said, I can't control what Tiger thinks, but I said, I know that if you see me beat him twice and I see me beat him twice, the next time we get paired with him, we know we can do that. So as luck would have it, Riviera, the first 2 rounds, I'm paired with Tiger. And I beat him the first round and I beat him the second round. And, it was part of a plan. I knew that was coming one day. I was lucky that it actually happened at TPC, where power wasn't the most important thing.
And so in your head, you've almost got this premonition that, hey, we're going to get paired together, and B, like, not only are we going to get paired together, but it's going to mean something for something even more important in the future, which turned out to be the final round of one of the biggest tournaments in the world, the Players Championship. So, it's incredible that it came true, but I love that, for average civilians like us, right? Like, we're just talking about golf and trying to get better. We're breaking 100, breaking 80, whatever we're trying to do. And, you're out there almost doing all of these calculations, the mental approach, knowing, right? Like, I feel like you now knew that Tiger knew when you stood on that tee, on the first tee at TPC Sawgrass, like, Tiger knew, oh, this guy can actually beat me.
Well, I think he and I have never talked about that, but I think Tiger knew he was going to have to beat me, that I wasn't going to beat myself. And, that's all we really can control is what we're doing. We can't control what the other guy's doing. If Tiger jumped out there and shot 63, the likelihood of me beating him would have probably been slim and none. But it wasn't the kind of golf course that was going to give up a 63 at the time. And, I felt good about it.
It also speaks to the figure that Tiger was at that time, that he's such a myth that you are taking it upon yourself to be like, no, we have to prove to the world that it is possible to beat this other human being. He's no different than us. He just happens to be really good at the game of golf. Where does that confidence come from, where you say to yourself, I'm going to be the guy that proves to the rest of the world that this guy isn't invincible, that he can be beaten?
Well, I didn't, when I just felt like I was going to get the chance one day. And I wanted to be prepared for the one chance that I get. And it kind of, likens the other day when Phil won at PGA. I think Phil knew I might not ever get another chance to do this like this. I've not seen Phil as focused as I saw him in that back nine. He's looking around at everything normally. And, he looked very focused to me, as if to say, I'm not going to let this slip away. And it takes that sort of intent to be able to have a victory like that.
How did you, in Tiger Mania, everything that comes with that, the circus, sometimes they start moving when you haven't even putted out yet because people were focused on Tiger. What did you do personally, individually, to stay in it, to play your game, and to ensure, that you had that same 100% focus on all your shots?
Well, I mean, to me, golf is playing one shot at a time, and my only goal was to drive it down the middle of the fairway on the first hole. And my goal was to match him shot for shot. And, I don't remember, I'm not sure I missed any fairways that day, and I only missed one green. I missed the 8th green. And my goal was to make sure that every time I hit a shot, he was looking, that ball was going right where we wanted it to go. And that kept pressure on him. I didn't want to open the door for him. And the one time that I got close to opening the door was on the hole that I missed the green. It was on number 8, the long par 3. And pin was back left, and I was trying to sneak it back there on the left side, and got over the hill and into the bunker, rolled all the way across the bunker to the backside of the bunker. I couldn't even stand in the bunker. And Tiger was up in front of me. He walked over there, and I can remember he looked at the shot, turned around to Stevie, and he shook his head no, as if to say he's dead. And when I couldn't stand in the bunker, I'm squatted down really low, and I told myself, just stay level. Whatever you do, stay level. And I hit absolutely. I spent 25 years out there. It was the greatest shot I've ever hit in my life. And, it popped up perfect, soft, landed right where I wanted to, and went about 8 feet past the hole, which, somebody would have said, I'd have given a whole lot of money for 8 feet past the hole before I hit that shot. And, I made the putt, and we're walking to the 9th tee, and Tiger said, man, that was a hell of a shot right there. And, that told him I'm not going to go away. And, that's what he's done over and over again in his whole career, is he's hit that shot that was miraculous when he needed to hit it. And it was one time that it got done to him. So
yeah, I was going to ask if you guys spoke much, during that round at all.
Yeah, some. it was really funny. It got rained out. I don't know if you remember, we were on the 12th hole and it rained it out, and we had to finish on Monday. And we went out and warmed up, and I got in the van before he did. And I'm sitting up in the seat right behind the driver, and he gets in behind me. And I'm sitting there. I hadn't said anything to him. He's right behind me. And he reaches up and he just grabs me really hard with both hands on both shoulders. He said, "Man, I had no idea there was this many rednecks in North Florida." He said, "And they're all for you." I said, "Tiger, now you know how the rest of us feel."
Right.
That's so good. Because you don't, you just don't know how, and us, again, like, we don't know what it's like inside those ropes. So it's cool. It's cool to hear that. And you guys are, you're people out there, right? You're just people playing golf, trying to win a golf tournament. Yeah. So it's cool. And it's probably helped you to know that you had kind of those fans with you rooting for you.
Well, it was really funny because as we played further into it, you could feel the crowd. You could feel that they were as much for me, if not more for me, than Tiger. And, I think the world of golf felt the same way that we did as players. Tiger had said, "I won the golf tournament with my C game." At one point, at one tournament, he made that statement, and I totally understand what he meant by that. He meant I didn't play my best, but I managed what I had really, really well. And, that's a lot of what golf is managing whatever you have. The best players in the world, they don't hit it perfect all the time. They just manage what they have. Tiger did it as good as anybody in the world.
Yeah, it's, it is, I guess it's a little bit difficult for people to go back in that time and picture being someone other than Tiger, being obsessed with Tiger, because we just look at it as so iconic and monumental. But like you said, when somebody's making comments like, "I can win with my C game," and here you are, you've been a top 10 player in the world for, I think, over 100 weeks in your career, and you're out there probably like a lot of the other guys thinking like, no, it ain't that easy. Like, we're out here to play too. We can play some golf. So yeah, I imagine it's a little personal on some level.
It is. Tiger was always, I enjoyed playing with Tiger. Every time I ever played with Tiger, I looked forward to it. In my opinion, my career spanned long enough that I played quite a bit with Nicklaus. He was in his, late 30s and early 40s whenever I played with him. But, and then it spanned long enough that in Tiger's early years, I was playing with him. And they were completely different kind of players, both dominant, but different. I get asked all the time to explain the difference between Jack Nicklaus and Tiger Woods. To me, Jack Nicklaus knew his strengths. He had a great inventory of what he could do. He knew his strengths, knew his weaknesses, and managed both. Played into his strengths and away from his weaknesses. Tiger is the only guy that I've ever played golf with in my life that didn't worry about the next shot. No matter where it went, he knew he had that shot. Now, that must be fun to play golf like that.
The most fun. Like I'm currently in the midst of trying to do this Breaking 100 series where I'm working on my game all the time, and I don't know where any shot's going ever. And I feel like anywhere that I end up, now that I'm trying to get this new swing and implement it into my game, I don't know if I have any shot. So to have the complete opposite feeling of that, to be like, I'm going to hit this ball as well as I can, and no matter where it ends up, I'm going to have that shot. I think he's maybe the only person in history, him and Nicklaus maybe, but him in particular, who has had that feeling where it's fine. I'll be able to hit this ball no matter where it goes. That's incredible.
Yeah, I'm not sure Jack had that. I think Jack had some shots that he didn't really want to put the ball in. And I think Tiger's walked up to every shot saying, "I've hit this shot before in my life, and I'm liable to hit it again right here."
All right, we got to talk about some new technology, which is 4D technology. I imagine you guys saw this of my golf swing at the U.S. Women's Open in 4 dimensions, which is one more dimension than I knew was possible.
Yeah, it was something. That was quite a swing. It got all the angles, every single angle from front, back, side to side. It was there's a lot of cameras. What was it, like 88 cameras or something?
88 cameras they got in that puppy.
That's
got to feel, when you step into there, you got to feel about as exposed as you can feel.
Well, it's also, this fucking camera is, for the whole day, taking 88 angles of the best swings in the world.
Yep.
This is the biggest championship in the game. It's the U.S. Open. And then mine, which is just not one of the best swings in the world. Mm-hmm. And on top of that, the whole Cisco crew is like standing there. Yeah, you're going to meet them at 4:30 on Wednesday. And we roll up, and it's the Cisco team's awesome. They're the ones that powered this 4D technology. So what you could do was, you can legitimately just log into the app, the U.S. Women's Open app, and now coming up, the U.S. Open app at Torrey Pines, and check out everyone in the field swing in 4D, which is so sick to be able to look at it at any angle, but it's not 2D from any angle, which you get a lot of stuff. It's 4 dimensions. So you go all over the place, you can just see it, and it's really, really, really cool. But, they were like, yeah, meet us down there. I go down there, there's a whole Cisco team. They're cool, we're chatting, I'm about to hit. And then, Danielle Kang rolls up, she's great. She's our friend. I interviewed her. Yep. But, she's preparing for a U.S. Open, a major, on Wednesday afternoon. She's, the last person out. It's her and her caddy. And, we had to, just stop our production so that she could do her thing and, tee off. And everybody's kind of like, And then I had to step in there into the gauntlet and swing, and knowing that it's going to be dissected on the internet. So I was actually trying to swing in a way that I thought would look aesthetically better and not hit a good golf shot, because who cares? Which just fucks you up even more. So the whole thing was very exposing.
Where'd the ball go?
So the first one went a little right. The second one went way right, and then I did a third one that went dead straight over the bunker, piped down the fairway.
Hold on. So you didn't swing your normal swing, so you tried to mimic a prettier swing that you knew wasn't going to be effective?
I mean, yeah. Because
yeah. That's
because you're being filmed in 4D. Nobody can see where the ball goes.
Do you when it's picture day at school? Do you wear a better outfit?
Yeah, thank you, Trent.
Boom.
That's exactly right.
What a good point.
No, that doesn't work, because it's
you sure?
I think it works.
No, because there's a bad outcome with wearing that shirt. Would you?
I dress like shit.
Would you dress like shit to fail all your classes, but at least you looked good? But you could have, dressed like shit and got all A's.
You're making my brain.
No, but what you got to realize, there's no outcome. Where my ball goes means literally nothing.
Correct.
Right.
I'm not keeping score alert. It means literally nothing.
I understand that. I'm just thinking of you try to make this pretty swing, because the internet says you have a horrible swing, even though a lot of people say there's a lot of good things with it.
I'm pretty sure Butch Harmon said that I have a great swing.
Right. No, I said the internet. The internet says you have a horrible swing, but then people that know golf actually.
I wrote yuck on it. Swing. I quote tweeted. I wrote yuck.
Yep, Frankie was mean.
Well, fucking, I got a text. It was like, hey, you guys see? And they clearly wanted us to engage with it. Craig was like, hey, you see this swing from Riggsy? So I was like, yeah, I'll engage with this shit. I'll engage with your tweet, Craig. So I just wrote yuck, and I fucking went on with my day.
Well, look, the point is, Cisco's awesome. Cisco is powering this whole thing. Cisco allowed there to be an opportunity for Frankie to just write yuck on my swing, exposed in more dimensions than I knew existed. So you can interact and control the footage from all the pros by downloading the U.S. Open app directly from the App Store. This is something that's extremely cool and unique that our friends at Cisco will be making possible next week at the U.S. Open.
And if you want to break 100, I'm going to give you some advice, Trent. You ready for that?
Please.
Block one side of the golf course out. No matter how bad that miss is, you have got to only deal with one side of the golf course. Okay. So I have no idea what your swing looks like or anything else, but if you can get it going one direction, you can manage it. That you've heard me use that word several times, manage. You got to get it manageable, and that's block one side of the golf course out.
I think that's very strong advice, and I think I would avoid a lot of trouble if I'm able to even implement that part of the time, because right now it's just I'm all over the golf course. I see parts of the golf course that no one else has ever seen, and it's just I never know necessarily where it's going. So I think that's something very much I need to keep in mind.
What level of golfers does that apply to? Is there a threshold where you just stop playing that way, or should every person kind of take that approach when they're trying to become better?
the best players in the world have blocked out one side of the golf course. And when that side of the golf course is in play, they're having to manage a lot of different things. You know, they want to make it effortless, and their eye will only see one thing. So that applies to every level of play. If you can block out one side of the golf course, you've got a much better chance of scoring.
What happens? So let's say I block out the left side of the golf course. I'm a lefty, right? I want to hit everything with a draw, and I want to play the right side. What happens when I pull up to a fairway that has all water on the right side? What am I going to do mentally?
You're a lefty?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I knew that was coming. I felt that coming all the way from that,
the
way from your office.
It's not as bad as it used to be because they're finally making some good-looking equipment for her.
Right, they really are.
Yeah,
they really
are. They are. So here's the truth. In my game, I'm a right-handed player, and I really wanted to block the left-hand side out. And, you know, I hit a draw with my irons, and I faded my driver a little bit. You know, I tried to block the left side out, and that's the side you're wanting to bring into play. I'll tell you this, that hook has got that face shutting down, and it won't listen. It doesn't have ears. So when it gets wild and mad, you can't talk it down. It's going to scream out of here.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. It's just like a lefty draw. It's just the most beautiful thing, I think. Like when I'm striping my irons and I'm striping my drives and it's going left to right, everyone is oohing and on the tee box. There's something about that dinky little fade to me. Is like I don't want to do it, but I agree. I think I should choose one side. But my question remains: what do you do when that side that you've blocked out, you can't block it out? You must go to that side. Like, is that like you just like adjust there? Like, what happens to your plan there?
Well, I mean, there's been times in all of our careers where our intentions are good, but we can't seem to do it.
Right.
And, you know, I mean, to me, I talk about commitment to a lot of the kids that we talk to all the time. You know, you got to get committed to a goal, a plan. And, you know, I played golf my whole life with a plan. And when I didn't have a plan, I couldn't execute. And I think better players need to have a plan of some sort and then never hit a shot that they're not committed to the shot, whatever their plan is.
Yeah, we hear that. I feel like that's one of the most common things when a player on TV doesn't hit a great shot. It's like he wasn't committed to that shot. You know, well, obviously on a general level, I think people like, oh yeah, I know what that means. But like, it's not like he wasn't, like he pulled the club back and hit the shot. So he's clearly committed to doing it. So you know, for you, like on a little bit of a deeper level, someone that's, you know, again, has a phenomenal resume, major champion, took down Tiger Woods. Like, what does that really mean for someone to be committed to a golf shot?
So let me give you an example. So let's say you're in between clubs. You pick the clubs that you're in between, and you're on the tour and your caddy is talking to you about it. And, you know, the way we hear people talking about shots now between caddies and players, it's pretty interesting, really, because my caddy, Freddie, never had that much interaction with me. I didn't want that much interaction because that could cause confusion. So it's even more important today that they finally decide on something. So Freddie and I had a little inside pack. If I put my hand on one club, keep your mouth shut. If I put my hand on two clubs, then that means I'm in between clubs and I welcome what you think. So whenever he would tell me what he thought, if I went that direction and it turned out to be wrong, he needed to take responsibility for that. Because if he didn't take responsibility for that, then I'm still thinking about that shot, what the mistake that we made while I'm trying to hit the next shot. So I've never really fully gone to the next shot because I'm still processing the last shot that we hit. But let's just say that I chose the club that I wanted to choose and he had tried to talk me out of that. When I pull this club, I've got to be committed to the shot. An example of that was in 1986. I was in the last group with Greg Norman at Shinnecock. He and I both were, it was on Sunday afternoon, and we get to the par 3 on the front 9 late in the round 7 or 8. I can't even remember what hole it is. I pull 6-iron out, and I've got the lead at the time, and my caddy can tell I'm not 100% sure of what I'm doing. He picks up the bag, sets it between the ball and the green. He said, go on and hit it, boss, if you can. I mean, imagine the last round of the U.S. Open, and that's what your caddy does to you. And I backed off, and I'm like, what are you doing? He said, man, put that club back in the bag, and when next time you pull it out, commit to it. Whatever you do, commit to it. It was a great lesson for me to learn at the time. And, I mean, I wasn't certain of what I was going to do. So I did commit to the shot. The wind came up, knocked it down in the front bunker, and it buried. I went to the shot, hit unbelievable shot out about a foot from the hole, and maintained the lead. But see, once I had committed to it and I knew I did the best I could, I can move on to the next shot rather than keep thinking about the last shot. So important.
Yeah, I mean, it's a phenomenal story, and it is a good lesson, I think, for all golfers of all levels, because there is we joke a lot about how we don't have a plan. Like, though, you know, we don't know how we don't have great swings, we don't have great touch, whatever. And we just, a lot of times you step up, we're all about pace of play. We're trying to play quickly. We're having a good time. Somebody's listening to music, and you hit a shot, and immediately afterwards, we are just like, man, I had no plan there. I didn't know what I was trying to do. I didn't even really know what club I was hitting, what the exact yardage was. And so, I mean, it makes sense in a game where you need to focus so much that having a plan and committing to that plan is going to be so important. And it sticks out to me. I mean, you and Freddie, you know, must have been as close as you can be to have that kind of relationship under the gun.
Well, we did, and we had a great. He caddied for me most of my whole professional career. And I mean, what we're talking about right now is so important to the game of golf. There's so many people that you can work with on your golf swing, but there's very few people that you can work with on your mind. And it's so important to me, and I think it's so needed, that I'm fixing to start this new thing called Let's Talk Golf. And I'm going to let people get into the mind of people that have played great golf. I'm going to have guests, my friends on, and so that people can interact with some champions on what they thought and how they thought it. And, you know, I think the easiest way for everybody to improve out there is stop thinking about your golf swing and start thinking about the inventory of what you can do and start managing what you already have. No one is doing a very good job of that.
So where can people find this Let's Talk Golf? Where are you going to be? How are they going to be able to listen and hear and watch you and get better?
Well, it's coming. Our first night is going to be June the 30th, and we're going to have a Zoom call just like this, and people will be able to type their questions in. And, you know, here I am doing exactly what I'm doing right now, and I'm going to be talking to everybody about it. So if you follow us on Twitter at Hal Sutton Golf, you'll see all the details coming forward, and Instagram, both Hal Sutton Golf.
Talk me through. So then now, you know, talk me through what the shot. You know, we've talked about it a little bit, but 72nd hole Players Championship against Tiger Woods. I believe you were 179 out. I think you end up hitting a 6-iron. Like, once you've pulled that club, what goes through your mind before you strike that ball and you have, you know, the right club today? Is it a swing tip you're reminding yourself? Is it a commitment thing? What are you saying to yourself in those moments between pulling the club and hitting the shot?
Well, really not a whole lot. I'm not saying anything. I'm trying to let my mind be as quiet as it can be. And the best shots in the world are when you're quiet in your head. And that means you're committed, and that means you're not thinking about a multitude of things. And, you know, but it goes way back beyond that. You know, Freddie and I had already decided if I had the lead on the last hole in just a one-shot lead, I had hit 3-wood on 18 all 3 days before that, aiming out to the right, hitting 4-iron into the green and stuff like that. I knew Tiger was going to hit his 2-iron stinger, and I could not hit my 3-wood past his 2-iron stinger. So I told Freddie, if we get to the last hole, we got a one-shot lead, I've got to hit driver because I got to have the last shot I got to do whatever I got to do. So, you know, Tiger, he eagled 16. I don't know if you remember that or not. I had a 3-shot lead. He eagled 16 and I parred. So we go to 17 with a 1-shot lead. And so he had the tee on 18. He hit that perfect 2-iron stinger down there. So it's driver time, you know. So I hit the driver exactly where I was trying to hit it. So I went to the shot with a lot of confidence. I had drove it perfect all day long. I did miss one fairway. I drove it on 16 just in the edge of the right rough, and that's why I didn't go for the green. And, the whole thing was a plan. I just executing the plan. And that's what every great football team does. That's what every great baseball, basketball team, they have a plan and they try to execute the plan. And golf is no different than that.
It's really stuck out to me too, the different generations and the different, stars and eras of the game even that you played through and that you played with. I mean, you mentioned Jack Nicklaus, you mentioned Greg Norman, everybody knows Tiger Woods. To you, how much has the game changed from, 70s, early 80s to, even now, because you've had a front row seat to a lot of it?
Well, it's changed a lot. The distance factor has changed a lot of things. When I was out there, accuracy was most important. And, it's not that distance wasn't important, we just need to, I felt like I was a better player out of the fairway than I was out of the rough. But now everybody hits it so far, they got short irons into the green out of the rough. And, I think, I could say I wish the USGA had kept a better handle on all this, to be honest with you, because it's cost the consumer billions of dollars from equipment to renovating golf courses to bring them up to standard. We've got some golf courses that were incredible golf courses that, you can't play anymore because these guys hit it too far. And, we didn't have the policemen in the game because they were afraid of litigation. They were afraid the manufacturers were going to sue them. And they went to sleep at the wheel, and guess what happened? The manufacturers took over. And to be honest with you guys, what happened is they sold distance. The manufacturers did, like they addicted you to distance. They've addicted everybody to distance. We have kids that come in here and we're talking to them, they're wanting to know what their swing speed is and how far they hit it. I keep trying to tell them, you do know that at the end of the day, all they ask is what you shot. That's all you got to sign. They never tell you how far did you hit a tee shot. The rest of the world is worried about that, but low score wins, not longest drive.
Now, Hal, on my side, so do you think that it ended up being good for the game of golf, though, to get these kids? Is there something natural about wanting to hit it the furthest, about wanting to have your car go the fastest, about wanting to hit the furthest home runs, the most home runs? Like you saw the boom in the MLB with Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire. It was the best thing that's ever happened in the sport. Is there a part of you that thinks like this actually did help the game of golf? Maybe not the actual game, the way to play it, but the general sport and playability of the average man or woman?
Well, it didn't help it near as much as the pandemic did.
Yeah, that's true.
So, to be honest with you, before the pandemic came along, golf was, there were fewer golfers playing than ever before. Now, the demographics, the age demographics, I guess, are probably different. There's a lot of youth in the game now, which is good. But, I'm excited about how many people love the game again. There have been people come back to the game that had left the game. And, and then we can thank the pandemic for that. It has nothing to do with how far a guy hits it that happened. And, I love watching the ball go a long ways. I wish I could make it go a long ways. I'm going the wrong direction. It's getting closer to me instead of further from me. But I'm 63 now, so I guess I have that right at this age.
Most guys have tried different ways to last longer in bed. Those ways do not work. Curling your toes, I believe, is one that I think I've tried before, and I've spoken about trying before. Not curling your toes, because if you try not to curl your toes, somebody told me that would work, and then you're in a weird situation where you're, having sexual intercourse, you're excited about that. You're like, I'm going to try this new technique of like not curling my toes, and then you realize that it's just not working, and now you're in a whole house of horrors. So you don't want that to happen.
Well, and we've talked about different ways. I think I've talked about maybe glaciers. I think was one of the early ones that we would talk about. And then you start to think about what you're actually trying to do, and what you are doing is actively taking yourself out of the moment. when you're
Oh, yeah.
supposed to be enjoying the moment. That is the main piece of that. So you're doing the sex. That's an exciting time. What a time to be alive. You did it.
Awesome.
Congratulations. But then then I'm going to spend that time thinking about glaciers. Like, that makes no sense. I'd rather be thinking about what's going on in the moment while not getting too overwhelmed.
There you go.
Right, but sometimes the moment is just too much. You know, the moment is what gets you to build up, where you got
Yes.
to carry old toes. Or
But
potentially you
What
just
you
think
need.
about your own body, because your own body's just disgusting. So if
But you
think
know
about
what?
that-
You don't think about anything. You don't think about you stay in the moment, and the way to not get too overwhelmed is you use Roman swipes.
There you go.
That's correct, Trent. They're a clinically proven way Roman swipes to last longer in bed. Effective, easy to use, fast acting. Roman can ship swipes to you in discreet, unmarked packaging, and each swipes packet small enough to hide in your wallet. Whenever you're going to need it, pop that out, use it, boom, you can last longer. You don't have to ruin the moment by thinking about Lurch's gross body. Go to GetRoman.com/4. You can get your first month of swipes for just $5 when you choose a monthly plan. That is GetRoman.com/4.
It's funny you say that, because one of my questions was going to be, you've obviously played for a long time in your life, and we have a lot of listeners, which I tend to forget, that are, of the older demographic. I'll have people come up to me at golf courses, and my dad's one of the biggest listeners of the show. So what would you say to someone that's growing with the game, growing older while playing, and how to adjust to your game? Like, how have you had to do it, right? Because you go back to your 20s and your 30s, you have a different swing. Is it different swing thoughts? Is it a different mindset? How would you talk those people through how to go out there and play?
Well, first of all, I'm going to say this one more time, an inventory of what you do. Let's be honest about what you can and can't do. The second thing is, get with a group of guys that play the correct tees. My ego in the old days, show me where the back tee is and tell me what the course record is. And that was what interested me. Now, my ego is not so big. I don't need to prove anything to anybody. I want to go out there and enjoy the game. And let me tell you what's enjoyable. Making a birdie. Mm-hmm. Have y'all ever made a birdie? Trent, have you ever made a birdie?
I have, yeah.
All
it's
right.
going to stun some people. It's probably going to stun you too, but I have.
Okay, good. All right.
Hell yeah,
So you know what's fun about the game. When you made that birdie, it was fun, right?
Oh, I felt that juice. Yeah, I like that juice.
Absolutely. Well, that's what's fun. But if you play the incorrect tee and all you do is feel like you've been in the ring with Mike Tyson all the time, you're not going to stay in the game, So, I think everybody needs to come to grips with what you can and can't do and play the correct tee that will allow you to feel good about yourself when you leave.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a great point. And you sometimes see, an older guy, I'll be playing with my dad or his friends, and I'll be playing the blues or the blacks. And they're like, there's that thought of, do we want to go up there? Because they're men. They're my father. They're older guys. But they end up going up there and they have a great time. They move up a tee or two. And like you said, instead of having the 180-yard shot that they feel like they couldn't really hit it onto the green, they have a 150-yard shot. And now they're able to place it around to the green and maybe make a birdie or two for the day. You go home, you have a great score on the scorecard, you have your beers and your cigars, and you're done. That's all it should be at that point.
Well, at the end of the day, this is a social game that we compete in. And the biggest, who we really compete with is ourselves. And, if you can find where you're comfortable at and live within that range, I think you have a better chance of enjoying the game.
Yeah, you're talking about the distance thing, right? It is funny that you might get a little bit of instant gratification out of hitting a bomb and hitting it way out there, hitting it farther than your buddies, but you see it all the time where people mess that up or they make a bogey or a double from it. In reality, what's really fun is hitting it in play, hitting it straight, hitting it on the green, playing golf well. I think probably keeps people coming back more than just hitting a few really, really far, because golf, when you're playing well and you've got looks for birdie and you could string together a good round of golf I think that's the most fun thing in the world, is when you're playing pretty damn good golf.
Yeah, well, there's no doubt about it. And going back to Tiger and I that day, Tiger outdrove me on almost every hole. And the great part about that is I hit the first shot into the green, and I never let up on the accelerator. So there was no open. The only open spot was on 8. and I kept the pressure on him. So he had to hit a good shot. And, you know, so you don't have to be the longest. You can keep the pressure on your fellow competitor if you hit a good second shot into the green.
So you know we got to fast forward about 4 years to the Ryder Cup in 2004. You're the U.S. Ryder Cup captain, and you make the bold move of pairing Phil and Tiger together, which I love. I think all the clips from it are it's just such a memorable move. And talk us through that entire experience of pulling that move, all the media that went around it, and your thought process on it.
Well, there's a whole lot to this, and first of all, Tiger and Phil weren't the best of friends at the time, and I mean, I don't think they were enemies, but they just weren't buds. And I analyzed that, and I go back. Arnold Palmer and Jack Nicklaus and Tom Watson weren't the best of friends either. They were competitors. And they played 12 times with each other at the Ryder Cup, and they were 11-1. So there was a precedence for this sort of thing. And I remember telling Jackie Burt and Steve Jones were my two assistant captains. And I brought Jackie in because I didn't think anybody at that juncture knew Jackie very well. And I thought Jackie was the brightest guy in golf at the time. 85 years old, but he knew more about golf than anybody I knew. And then Steve Jones, I brought him back because he won at Oakland Hills, and he had elbow surgery and everything else. And it was kind of a tribute to Steve to get him back involved. And we had a talk, and I said, I'm really tempted to do this, put them together. And neither one of them were real big on doing it. I said, you know what? I said, let's just suppose that they play great. If they do, I never left a Ryder Cup match where I played with someone that I went to war with them, that I didn't leave there a better friend with them. Win or lose, I was a better friend with them because we had tried to accomplish something together. And I said, if they leave better friends, golf is the winner. And that was the justification behind it. And, the first match, they got beat, I think 2-1, if I remember correctly, and they were 9 under after 11. So it wasn't like they played terrible. Colin Montgomery and Padraig Harrington just played a lot better than them. The second match, Phil didn't play very good. And, Phil, I could go back and tell you a lot of stories about that, but Phil was angry with me because I didn't tell him who he was going to play with. He wanted to know who he was going to play with. And I said, Phil, as soon as I know, I'll let you know. And, he switched balls and club 2 weeks before we went up there. And on Wednesday, he tells me he's not even going to play a practice round because he didn't know how far the ball was going to go. He said, I got to go over here and try to figure out how far this Callaway ball is going. And then he badmouthed me and said I didn't give him time to get used to Tiger's ball. He didn't even come up there with a ball that he was used to and even understood. And see, I took that on the chin. I didn't say anything about this for a long, long time. And it really, I quit the game after that. I left after that. 5 years, I didn't play golf. I was so disgruntled with everything. And, I'm sharing this with y'all now because, Phil and I are fine. We're friends. But, and I sent him a congratulatory text for winning the PGA. But that was all mishandled. Every bit of that was mishandled. And, when you work hard on something for a year or two, like you do the Ryder Cup, and it's a thankless job, my dad begged me not to do it. He said, Hal, there's no upside to it. If you win, they get all the credit. All the players do. If you lose, you get all the blame. And how true is that? Absolutely the truth. So
it's very true.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie. I was really put out with golf for 5 years. And I didn't want anything to do with it. And it's something that I love. It's something I've done my whole life. And finally I got over it. I said, I'm going to go back and play. And by the time I went back and played, my hips were locked up. I had arthritis in my hips. I've had both hips replaced. And now I've had my left knee replaced as well. So there's no more competitive golf left in me, but I still know a lot about the game.
It's man, it's really encompassing of all the worst parts about media, and like you said, the fact that it's so thankless, the fact that people break it down when the captain, you didn't hit a single golf shot. It's like if you put guys out there and the other team plays better golf, the other team's players hit better golf shots, your team's just going to lose, and that's what it comes down to. And yet people, they want to drag captains, they wanted to drag you, they wanted to drag Tom Watson, they wanted to drag all kinds of people for even on the other side, like Nick Faldo, when he didn't win, they wanted to drag him, and it's like, no, the players are the ones that hit the golf shots. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. The Ryder Cup, I loved being there as a player. I played on 4 Ryder Cup teams, and I had a winning record. I mean, I'm one of the few Americans that is alive today that can say they had a winning record. It's been my favorite thing in golf was being on the '99 Ryder Cup team. We came from so far behind, and it's one of my fondest memories that I look back on and think, man, I'm so glad I was part of that. It was so electric. Never been in a sporting event for golf that was more electric than that. Anyway.
Man, that's been such a consistent answer from players that we've talked to that have been in Ryder Cups. It seems as though that's every player's favorite memory or top 2 or 3 memories playing on a Ryder Cup team. And I always wonder if it's because of the team aspect, right? Like you guys are out there on your own. You got to make your own dollar. It's a tough living being a professional golfer, and finally you get to get guys where they have your back, you have their back, kind of a locker room mentality, right? Is that why that adds to that, and obviously the country, playing for your country, but it's been such a consistent answer. It's amazing.
Well, I think playing for your country is a big part of it, but also I think the fact that this shot not only matters for you, it matters for a lot of other people. Golf is an individual sport, and if I fail, I only fail myself. But in the Ryder Cup, you fail a lot of people. And I think that's what's so important about. That's why we love the Ryder Cup. I think it's one of the greatest sporting events that there is. The media center at the Ryder Cup, there's 1,500 people in the media center at the Ryder Cup. It's bigger than the Super Bowl. And, I mean, a lot of people don't know that. But, I mean, you go into media center at the Ryder Cup, you will be shocked. And it's a big deal all around the world.
Yeah, it is. It's it's funny because we do, even as fans, we take the Ryder Cup on such a different level than you take any other golf. Like you and all your buddies that are all American and from the same country, like we're all geared up in red, white, and blue, and it's like we're part of the team. So it's the feeling, right? That like, oh yeah, this is our event, like we are going to win, whereas on a normal tournament there's no we, it's you're out there, Hal's out there, Tiger's out there. Ryder Cup, we're all playing as a team.
Yeah, well, I mean, you go to a normal golf tournament, you have your favorite, and that's who you're pulling for. You go to the Ryder Cup, you have your favorite team, and that's who you're pulling for, and you're pulling for everybody on that team, and every shot matters. And I mean, there's nothing like the Ryder Cup in golf. That is, to me, that's the ultimate.
Yeah, they made the right decision moving it for sure. Like you couldn't have had that with no fans. The Ryder Cup with no fans just isn't a Ryder Cup.
No, that's right. That's exactly right. So I'm glad they moved it. It should be spectacular at Whistling Straits. The risk reward there is pretty profound, and I think it's going to be a great Ryder Cup course.
Whoop is the world's most powerful fitness wearable that provides 24/7 personalized sleep, training, and recovery insights to help you unlock your potential. I got the Whoop band on right here. It's very simple. Had this puppy on for like 2 years now. It's very easy. I sleep with it. I shower with it. I play golf with it. I do everything with this puppy on.
Yeah, I was thinking about that the other day too. This thing has been on my arm for the last 2 years, and I almost never notice it. Almost never. You know what I mean? Like normally, I'm not normally a guy who keeps things on his wrist. I'm not like a watch guy. I'm not really a bracelet guy or anything like that. Toss this on there, I figured, I'm going to be thinking about it all the time. But it's just been there for 2 years, and I never think about it. And it's really fantastic. And these days I'm obsessed with just looking at my heart rate all the time, just like in different scenarios, looking at what my heart rate is. Right now it's 90. Just doing a podcast, I'm at 90, which might be a little too high, but it's also like I'm getting excited about Whoop, so maybe not.
Yeah, it's something that's very easy to get excited about.
Once you put it on too, for like, I guess once you continue to do something for a while, it makes it so easy. But like, because I will say at first I was like, oh damn, I've had this thing on my wrist for the first like week, and then it was just gone, and now it's just there every day.
Right.
Every day. I mean,
it's crazy how much information it knows about all of us now.
It knows a lot of information during these streams with the Islander games. I mean, it's the number one thing people always ask me to just pull up. 168 beats per minute I was at during 168. I was in overtime, like game 2, I think it was, and it was just going into overtime. Like they came out of the locker room. They were about to address each other at center ice, and I checked it was like 160 something.
Is that? Yeah. Do you need that check? Is that doctor?
That's something that I'm active. Yeah, I'm working on that.
Okay. Good.
Well, Whoop gives you that information. They've been making waves across the PGA Tour this season. They got some of our favorite players, JT, Rory, many, many more that are hooked up. They're learning a lot about their bodies. They can help you get hooked up. They're offering 15% off right now with the code FOREPLAY at checkout. That's one word, FOREPLAY, FOREPLAY. At checkout, you go to whoop.com, WHOOP.com, enter code FOREPLAY at checkout to save 15%.
Is there truth to the fact that when they're choosing venues, they'll actually choose it based off of how the team they think is going to perform the best, right? We've heard like rumors and speculation that captains they'll all get together and that's like how they'll choose the course or the layout.
Money talks. Trust me, it's the biggest money maker the PGA of America has. And they're looking for where they think they can have the greatest competition and do quite well financially from it. So
I'm glad we got that cleared up because you hear it all the time. Oh, they in France they had it because these guys were more target golfers, and the USA wasn't going to be able to compete with them. And at Whistling Straits we're going to be able.
I'm not sure how the Europeans do it. I do know that the captain has the ability to influence the setup of the golf course, but I don't think he has the ability to choose the venue.
Now, when did you have your hand in the way the course was set up, and I
tried to influence Kerry Haig to set it up the way I thought it should be set up, and one of the things at Oakland Hills this is really a funny story. So after the first day, we've got walkie-talkies and headphones on, and I radioed Steve and Jackie Burke, and I said, well, we got to set Tiger or Phil. We got to make a statement. And I said, I've got my opinion on who we're going to sit down the next morning. I said, I want y'all to tell me what y'all think. And this is so funny. Jackie Burke said, well, hell, Hal. He said, if you got any guts, set them both. And I said, no, we can't do that, Jackie. He said, I said, but why do you say that? And he said, we don't have a snowball's chance in hell. He said, every American's trying to play every shot in the air. And he said, the Europeans know how to use the ground to maneuver the ball. At Oakland Hills, you got to use the ground to maneuver the ball. He said, everybody, you were standing on the ninth tee telling everybody to hit it left of the flag and let the land move the ball to the right. And he said, I don't know what the attraction to the pin was, but all the Americans were firing it right at the pin. And we lost the hole all day long. So, but here is the reason for that. The Americans are a product of their environment. That is the way we play golf. That is the mentality that they use every week. That's how they make the living that they make. And so the arena that they play in, that's the way they play. Now you go play in Europe, it's a whole different story. They use the ground to maneuver the ball. They land it over here to make it go over there. And, it's just different game here than it is over there.
It's interesting. We were in Australia for the President's Cup, and we remember on the first hole at Royal Melbourne, they were actually the international team was flying it into like that marshy, high, rough stuff, and they knew that it was going to come running out of it and go right onto the green. And we actually were so close to the tee box, we were able to hear guys kind of talking about different types of shots. Like, oh, did you see how hard that ground was? And did you see how they were running it? It was amazing to see, and it is interesting the differences when you're in another part of the world, how you could just play the game completely differently.
Yeah, it's I never enjoyed going over to Europe that much to play golf, just because I was in this arena here, and we travel so much, I just didn't want to be a world globetrotter, and I stayed here and played a lot. I think I only played in 10 British Opens, if I remember right, and I could have played in more. I just didn't go.
It's your choice. It's probably smart. You're like, no, I fly the ball in the air. I'm not going over there playing links golf. Why would we do that? I have to mention too. You've obviously had a lot of success in the game, and I just want to give you the opportunity to talk a little bit about some of the good things that you've done with that. I know you received the Payne Stewart Award in 2007 for your charitable efforts. The Children's Hospital in your hometown. You've helped kind of spearhead and raise millions of dollars for hurricane relief. So how important is that charitable kind of the bone in your body that you've had clearly throughout your life to help others, because it's awesome. It means a lot.
Well, I don't think I was there in the beginning, to be honest with you. I was chasing my own selfish dreams. And I think what ends up happening after you've had some success and you realize that that's not everything that you thought it was going to be, that there has to be more to life than that. And then being able to do something to help somebody else is pretty darn rewarding. And, probably the thing that I'm the most proud of is being recognized with the Payne Stewart Award. Every year I go to the Payne Stewart Award and listen to the speeches of everybody that's won it and how overwhelmed they are that people see them in that light. And, all of the people have accomplished great things that have won the Payne Stewart Award, but they will tell you emphatically that helping others was what really was gratifying to them.
It's awesome. It's just
that's great.
It's cool to hear that perspective from somebody again that's had a lot of success and feels like it comes from the right place. So thanks obviously for all that hard work. That's amazing.
Well, I appreciate that. But talking to all the kids out there, there's never been a really successful person that wasn't selfish to some degree, and it took people around them allowing them to be selfish instead of telling them what they're not doing all the time. And you look at anybody that's ever performed at a really high level, they probably had to be pretty selfish to get to that point. And the best part of it is through the evolution of time and having wisdom come from all your successes. Hopefully you graduate into that, I need to give something back. And I see a lot of that in the guys today. That part of it, I really, what Justin Thomas did for Big Mike, was pretty cool thing, to be honest with you. And, I see a lot of guys giving a lot of things back. And, I'm proud of golf for what that's doing.
Yeah, it is. It's cool. The JT story was awesome. People don't really realize what it takes to make it, how hard it is, how expensive it is. So having those funds is huge.
Well, and so few people actually make it too. And, so when they do give back, that's pretty cool. There's so many people, you see the stars. We see everybody that's making it. But for everybody that's making it, there's 100 that's not, or 1,000. Whatever the number is. And, those guys are spending money. They still love the game. They're still trying. Big Mike had been trying for a long time, and finally got in a tournament, and he was, it was a pretty cool thing.
Very cool thing.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, look, we appreciate it.
Hal, I'm sorry. Wait, I have to ask one question because with the players, we got into a debate and we talked to Will Zalatoris about this. Now let's talk. We're going to talk about a 10 handicap here in this scenario. If you're talking to a 10 handicap player, which hole would they have a better chance at making a better score? 12 at Augusta or 17 at TPC Sawgrass?
Ooh. Well, in my opinion, I think 17 at Sawgrass, you'd have a better chance to have a better score. And here's the reason why. It's kind of out in the open. What the elements is doing is no mystery to you. Number 12 at Augusta, I think I played there 17 or 18 times. And I never knew for sure what that wind was doing on number 12. So to stand over, that may be the one place that consistently I wasn't 100% committed to the shot I was about to hit because I didn't know what was going on there.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah, that's fair. We've heard both sides. My debate was always you have more room for error, or am I saying that the opposite way? There's less room for error, more room. Whatever. You can hit a bunker. You can go long. You can go short. You're not going to be wet. I think if you get the shanks, if you get the chunks at TPC, good night. Like, you're never getting that thing on that island.
Well, that's true. That's true. But I can tell you, if you shank it on number 12 at Augusta, you're not going to have a good score. Trust me.
All right, that's great. Yeah.
Thank you. That's what I needed. Hal, we appreciate it, man. We appreciate you taking the time. I know it's late. We made you go back to the office, which, again, your office looks awesome, so that's good.
Well, no big
beautiful.
deal. I've enjoyed it. Hey, being on y'all's podcast was an honor for me. We've got our podcast started now, Be the Right Club Today podcast, and I know the effort that goes into it, so I appreciate what y'all are doing, and being on here was an honor for me.
Any final words on Trent and on his pursuit to break 100? Because this is a hot topic right now. So I want my guy to get gassed up. I want him to get gassed up.
I don't know, Trent. Let me get my email, and I'll send you some tips that they don't hear about, so that you can get better and say you did it on your own. I gave the one on here where block out one side of the golf course. There's a little more to it. So
listen. All right. First of all, I'm going to get your email for sure. And the series is breaking 100. That's like the poll. That's what people want to see. But the real goal is to beat the other guys on these screens here. So
okay.
We don't need. I appreciate you giving out the one free tip to all three of us. But when you and I will exchange some emails, and I'll get the secrets, and we'll be well on our way.
There you go. I'll be looking for the email.
Yeah, Riggs and I have secretly just been taking all the tips that he's been getting so that we can improve our scores. Because if we just sit back, I'm gonna end up being the fourth on the podcast in scoring.
He's just gonna close the gap. Like that's just it's just science. Like he's just gonna be better than we are.
Yep.
Well, look, we appreciate it. We really do. Go check him out, Hal Sutton Golf on Twitter, on social media. You've got Let's Talk Golf coming out soon, and Be the Right Club Today podcast. So Hal Sutton, major winner, legend in the game, 14-time PGA Tour winner, and now you've been a guest on the show. So we appreciate it.
I appreciate you, Riggs. Thanks.